Hello and welcome, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from across the world. It is my pleasure to have you on our first Natural Hair Therapist Conference today. It's great to see that you on our natural hair community, and I'm sure that you will enjoy this topic. So please don't forget to put in the chat on the platform where you are watching from. My name is Janine Fantro. I will be your host for today. I'm a natural hair therapist, I'm a product formulator, among other things. And I'm also the developer of the holistic hair care philosophy called Niche. I'm also the founder of Cisse Cosmetics. That's a natural hair care and skincare brand. As a natural hair therapist, I educate and coach people to healthier hair and basically to overall health. Most people use a product based approach. So, when they have an issue with, for instance, their scalp, their hair, when they have hair loss or dry hair, they always tend to look for the product that will solve that problem. As a natural hair therapist, I help to change people. I help to help people to change the way they look at hair care and teach them a more holistic approach because I do believe that everything starts from the inside. And I do that through the niche philosophy. Niche is an acronym and it stands for nutrition, ingredients, scalp care, and hair maintenance. So for me, as a natural hair therapist, all these four together combined are hair care. So if you want to know more about our services and products, my team is my team is there in the chat. You can ask questions and as we go. So, this conference has been planned as a part of the activities to celebrate the International Women's Day 2022. For most of us, women and men who love and are proud of our natural hair, oftentimes we come across instances of societal discrimination and bias just because we choose to flaunt our God given hair. Therefore, today, we've chosen to have a roundtable to share our individual experiences and also find ways to, in the words of the International Women's Day 2022 theme, break the bias. I'm very pleased with and proud to have our wonderful guests joining us today from different countries in the world. But before I introduce you to our guests, I first would like to acknowledge the work of my wonderful team. I could have not done this without them. So, Chidi, Izine, Gerard, thank you very much for your dedication and for your hard work. I would also like to thank our partners that help us to make this happen. First of all, Mr. Frank from LifeGig, who makes it possible for us to have our own platform so that we can use the live stream, and Mr. Chris from ATT Consulting. They are both based in Nigeria. Thank you very much, both of you, to partner with us and to make this event and everything that is going on backstage happen. So, now that I've got that out of the way, let me introduce my first guest, and she's even my co host, Grace Mafulu. Grace is a natural hair therapist, and she's the founder of Mayala 360 Afro Hair Care. She has been natural since 2010, and she is a firm niche philosophy believer. And she's also a strong advocate for children for not using chemical products and extensions on children's hair. She has been advocating that for a very long time to parents and also to young girls. And she tries to make people understand the consequences of chemical products on little children's hair and also the using the extensions on children's hair. Welcome, Grace.
Hi, Janine. Good evening. Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Our next guest um, is Charlotte. Charlotte is
Hi.
from Charlotte is also known as Nappy Care. She is 29 years old. She's from the DR Congo. She's a natural hair ambassador, a YouTuber, and she also was Miss Nappy 2019. She has been a coach, a natural hair coach for some time now. She helps the community with information about natural hair. She also helps women and children to accept and appreciate their hair and to understand all aspects of their natural hair. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Charlotte.
Okay. Next is our next guest is although she is right here in the well, not right here. She's not far away from me. I'm in Belgium. She's currently in the UK. Is Akua. She is originally from Ghana. Ooh. And she is known as Blakofe. I hope I pronounced that okay. She is a multi-talented public figure and an influencer. She has worked as a TV and radio presenter and producer. She has also worked as a voiceover artist, tour operator, content developer. She's a writer. So I will ask her to put her link, send her link to us so you can go get her book on Etsy. She is an educator and also an actress. Akua is currently based in the UK, but she is, as I said, originally from Ghana. And she has been promoting natural hair for over 30 years now. And according to her, it has been a very rewarding journey. Welcome, Akua.
Thank you. It's good to be on this platform.
Thank you very much. Thank you. While we are waiting for other guests, but I will start or would like to start. Our special guest, actually, we have a man in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I would like to introduce Dr. Solomon Guramatunu, and this man wears many, many hats. He is an ophthalmologist. He is originally from Zimbabwe, but he is joining us today from Dubai. The Doc, as I call him, is a philanthropist, and he is a vivid art lover, and that is very visible when you walk through his yard in back in Zimbabwe. Next to being an art lover, a philanthropist, he also loves horseback riding. He loves scuba diving and dancing. And he even told me once that if I cannot dance, I am not allowed to visit his house. So luckily for me, I'm from the Caribbean, so I do know my merengue, my bachata, my salsa even. So I guess I'm welcome. We can also talk for hours about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies, something that an interest that we share. But the reason why he is here is that he is also a natural hair advocate for many years now in the natural hair space in his country back in the days, which is not that long ago. I think it's about 4 years ago. I think he was one of the most hated men in the natural hair space because of the message that he was trying to bring to Black women about wearing wigs and weaves. So many years later now, they finally seem to get the message. So I hope that the message is now being understood, or it's becoming clear what he has been saying all this time. So once again, thank you all. Welcome to the stream, Doc.
Thank you.
And let's go ahead and have a candid discussion about natural hair and bias. So my first question, and I would like to address that first to Charlotte, and I have my reason why, is how does the bias look like when we talk about natural hair? Because we have bias in the workplace, we have bias in society, we have bias everywhere. Discrimination against natural hair. How does it look like? And what are your personal experiences, if any?
For me, I think it's really violence, especially here in Kinshasa. I experience it in the violent way because when I think about it, I'm overwhelmed because it was really an anxious situation. Um, because of the bias, because of the discrimination, I didn't have the right to enter my university 2 times, um, and I had to put it on the social media, and the media just they talk about it, and it's made a lot of buzz, and I the, the people at university they was really mean to me and about it, because I say, why you will say that it's not good for the university, it's not good for the image. You didn't have the right to say that. So that was really it was really a bad situation for me. And sorry about my English because it's not really good, but and because the situation was really, it made me sad when I think about it, because it was so violent this time. It was I received a lot of backlash this time, especially on social media about it. When I talk about it, I try to explain that it's not normal. When you want to just study, you want to have a life, to have a future, and the 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 university, when you put your trust in, act like this, it's not normal. So yeah, the bias was really a dark situation in my life. So that's why I'm really against it. I'm really fighting for it to stop in natural hair community.
Thank you. Before we continue, let me quickly introduce Tumela from South
Hello, Eddie.
Africa. Welcome, Tumela.
Fine, fine. How are you?
See you here.
Yeah.
Tumela is from South Africa, and she is an entrepreneur. She has her own natural hair care brand in South Africa called Manly Rooted, a company that makes and
Yeah,
sells
yeah, yeah.
natural hair and skin products. I hear a lot of background
No, it's
noise.
fine.
Not
Yeah.
sure where it comes from,
It's fine.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I'm okay. I'm okay.
let me see. Okay. I know where it comes from now. Thank you, Tamela. Okay.
Yeah.
I would want to go back to the conversation, Charlotte. When you say the university, who actually made it, or expelled? You were expelled from university because of your natural hair, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what I cannot imagine is, was it something that is in the school rules, or that you're not supposed to wear your hair natural? Tell us a little bit how that went, how it looked like.
So in back in the days, it wasn't in the rules, but they put it because I reported in the media. Yeah, he wasn't in school. And the first time when they literally banned me, it's because I was having a afro puff. Just it's just a puff. Just I didn't really get it, because it's just a hairstyle, a natural hairstyle. And they say that, no, your hair is dirty, you need to brush your hair. But I do brush my hair this time, so I didn't understand. And it was the guards at the gates at university that start it, and then they report it to the people, the director, and
I'm
all the
seeing
people.
Akua is dying
Mhm.
to say something. Would
Who,
you like to
me?
comment on this?
No, I'm shocked. She said it was the
Yeah,
guards at the gate who stopped her.
yeah,
The
yeah.
guards
And
for
then
Yeah.
having
the
natural hair.
director approved it, and then all of the people at the university approved them, and then they put it on the rules after all the thing happened, after all the backlash, and they put it on the rules. So now people can come to the university with an afro puff. They can come with afro puff.
What I
And what
find
is really
so
That's
what is
Yeah,
insane.
go
really
ahead.
sad, excuse me, what is really sad is, back in the days when other natural hair girl in the university, they wasn't happy with the fact that I talk about it. There was like, no, you should have stayed quiet. You should tell that because it's not a good image for us, you know. And after that, when they put the rules about it, and they were like, oh, maybe you were right about it. Maybe now we can put any hairstyle in. We can come at the university with any hairstyle. You know, maybe you were right about it, but
So
it's too
how are you
late.
going to, when you're going to university, are you still in university?
No,
Okay, because back in the day, how did you do then? How did you go to did you do something with your hair? Did you um because I think it's ridiculous to it's not as if you were walking around naked, right? You were just wearing your natural hair. So what did you do to be able to finish your university then?
now I had to do a different hairstyle. Even twists like this, they took it like locks, so they don't like it. They don't like locks. They say it's for people like homeless people. They don't. It's not professional. It's so
Yeah.
even you have to do a bigger twist, not like this, a bigger twist, and you have to do a bun like this in behind like this and to enter the university. So no, you can, or if you have relaxed hair, that will not be a problem if you
I
have
have a
relaxed hair.
question though. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm just like it's shocking because I am from the same country as Charlotte, and I didn't grow up there, but it's so shocking to realize that having natural hair is seen as dirty, not professional. I mean, yeah. So I have a
Well,
question about the girls actually at the university because you said that there
Mhm.
were a couple of girls with natural hair.
Mhm.
So were they
Mhm.
wearing like afro or were they having like braids as hairstyle? Just to understand as well because they were against you saying why you reported to the media, but after that they said, oh, maybe you were right to report to the
Mhm.
media. So how was their hairstyle for them?
There were a lot of braids, but even braids. So this university is just a joke. Even when you have braids, even when you have braids, if it's longer than here, they ask you to cut it in front of the guards and at the gates. They ask you to cut it. You don't have to
Those guys
enter
had a lot
when
of power.
yeah, there's a lot of power. And I don't. Yeah, they put it too in the rules. So the girls,
Wow.
they were an image too that went viral here in Kinshasa, where we see at the gates there was a lot of braids cut in the floor. So it's really made it really went viral because of it. Because they were like, it's just braids. Why don't you want women to have just braids? It's just a hairstyle. So yeah, that's
it's
what.
very
But
interesting.
after, sorry, after that, the women with natural hair, even me, uh, we had a normal hairstyle like braid, but when it's ear or twist with extension, just like this.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
In the meantime, sorry to cut you, but in the meantime, I added Lynette to the stream. Let me quickly introduce her. Lynette has been natural for a couple of years now. She did her um, transitioning late 2013. She is originally from Zimbabwe, but currently based in South Africa. But right now, she's in Zimbabwe. She is she and her husband actually developed a natural hair care range called I don't know how to pronounce it, arete of hair.
It's arate.
um Arete, okay, sorry, arete for hair. Lynette enjoys an interaction with women who come to discover the beauty of their own natural hair. Welcome, Lynette.
Thank you
And if
very
you
much.
want to know, if you want to get in contact with Lynette, my team will drop her details for you so you can contact her, and that goes for everybody here in the team. Talking about the university, coming back to that, one thing that I know the Duck has been doing in Zimbabwe, for instance, is visiting universities and um, I would want to use the word grooming, but that's not the right word. But talking to people about natural hair and why as a black woman, you should value your own natural hair. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that, Doc?
Sure. For me, it's a very serious issue because it's not so much about the hair and the skin, it's about the mindset. That's the key thing. Because unfortunately, I think because of slavery and colonialism, there's been that belief among us black people that the white woman is the most beautiful woman. Therefore, black people think they look more beautiful if their hair looks like the white lady. They look more beautiful if their skin looks like white people. Therefore, they bleach it. Now, I got involved in this because I saw black ladies, slapping their hair, they're scratching, and I looked at the other races. They don't do that. They said, so I asked the girls in my office. I said, "What is going on?" They said, "Oh, doctor, it's the weaves. They're very itchy." So I said, "Well, educate me. What are these weaves?" So they told me that there was 100% human hair, Indian, Brazilian, Peruvian, and so on, which is quite expensive. And then they told me there was the fibers, the synthetic fibers, which are done, I think, made by the Chinese and the Koreans, and they're much cheaper. So my awakening, as it were, was in India when I saw them harvesting that hair, and I realized the
And
Hindus, the burn bodies.
I looked at the other races,
Um,
they don't do that. They said,
so I realized that the burn bodies of their beloved have passed on. But now, when they realize that the hair is big business, they shave the hair off dead bodies, then they burn the body. And then, of course, I went to the temples where people worship the goddess, these ceremonies, and I saw very poor people, homeless people, very dirty. The hair was being shaven off. And then I saw people who were very sick. Maybe they had cancer or TB. And then I saw people who had mental problems. Their hair was shaved off so that it was um, a sacrifice to their gods. And I said to myself, and black people actually pay for this. Now, when I give my lectures, and I have to tell all your audience about this, I know from a scientific point of view and the aesthetic point of view that the black woman is the most beautiful woman walking on planet Earth with her natural attributes, with her natural hair and her natural skin. I can go into detail about this. But I thought I was the only one who thought like this. But there was Dr. Ed Robinson, who is late now in the States, who explored a lot about the origins of black people, especially in the States. And he said exactly what I'm telling you now. And I was so happy to realize that I was not the only black person or black man who knows this. I think the tragedy is that black women, most of them maybe don't know this. And there are also a lot of black men who are equally ignorant. You, the black woman, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I know it. And I think, as Janine said, one of my hobbies is dancing. So, in my own home, I've danced with ladies from South Korea, from Japan, from India, from China, from Europeans, blacks. I don't have a problem with race. I just happen to know that you have it all. They have what they call the Eve gene, which comprises the whole genome of the human race. In other words, if we go to Tokyo today, we check their DNA. We go to Sweden, we go to South Korea, we go to Argentina. All those genes, there's only one organism, one creature with the Eve gene, and that's the black woman. You are the mother of mankind. And this is why you have all these options with your hair that no other race has. I think from South Africa, Miss South Africa this year was bald, completely bald. And I've seen these ladies from South Sudan, very dark, tall, and they are bold with big earrings, and they are models on the catwalk in Europe. Any other race, if they go that bold, we think maybe they're on cancer treatment. You can imagine Caucasian bold or Indian bold, or Chinese even worse, Japan. But a black woman who's bold is like a goddess. And I mean it. Secondly, check out any black woman who has short hair. I can see you got short hair. Cute, cute, clean, and young looking. When our ladies have these weaves and wigs, I think they look older than their actual ages. Number three, check out any black lady who has an afro. It's like you have a crown on your head. You look majestic like a queen. No other race can sport an afro but a black woman. I sponsored one TV show in Zimbabwe, and one lady in the audience said, "We are the only ones whose hair is pointing towards heaven. The rest of the race is pointing downwards." And fourthly, if you ladies, I mean, like I look at Janine there and I look at stuff there, when your hair is like this, you just look like any other race. You look like the Caucasian, you look the Asian. You can do that with your own hair. You have that option. And fifthly, you can plait your hair 1,000 different styles.
Yeah.
No other race on earth can
Yeah.
do that. Finally, you can have locks and you look very sexy. No other race can do that. So I say to the black lady, listen, look at the options that you have with your hair, from being bold, short hair, afro, straight hair, plating, locks, six options. No other race on earth has six options with the hair except you. You can look like them if your hair is like Janine's hair, but the other races can never, ever look like you, like the black woman. You have it all. Our problem is ignorance or this deeply embedded inferiority complex. And that's what really, that's for me, that's what I'm fighting. I'm trying to explain to the ladies that you don't have to imitate. People can imitate you. In fact, they imitate you. And of course, they can't succeed. But you don't have any excuse to imitate other races. And can you imagine? Some say to me, oh, but the fibers. But think for a moment. The Chinese are in Africa. You all know how they treat black people in Africa. So it's not a secret. There's absolutely no respect. But they figured us out. They said to themselves, because when we cut our hair, we throw it in the dust. It's dirt. And they said, look at these people. They are prepared to pay foreign currency, US dollars, to pay for what other races would throw in the dustbin. They pay 200, 400, 600, 800 US dollars to the Indians, to the Brazilians, the Peruvians. So, well, we've missed out on this bonanza, this free money from these people. Those who pay these kind of monies are the ones who think, yeah, we have arrived, we have money, we can afford to have the 100% human hair. The rest of them out there, they also want, but they cannot afford. It is not that black people want human hair. No, 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 no. They want the look to look like Caucasians, to look like Asians. So why don't we make fibers, just silly fibers that can mimic Caucasian hair? These black people will buy just fibers. As long as they look like white people, they'll buy. So surely enough they made those fibers and they made them so cheap that even the maid or somebody who just got an ordinary job who doesn't have much money, they buy. Even the lady on their street who's selling her mangoes on the marketplace, they have their wig or weave on just to look Caucasian.
Yeah.
Ladies, for me, it just breaks my heart when I see this. Seriously, I just think, how can we, as a race, as a people, we have these powerful genes, all these options. The skin, can you imagine? You have melanin, and the melanin, you don't wrinkle easily. You can go to 40, 50, 60, 70. I've got patients 70, 80 years old. They look beautiful. And you see other races, early 40s, they wrinkle because they don't have melanin. But not only that, Caucasians, because they're meant to be in the cold climate, when they're hit by our sun, they have skin cancers. You don't. People who live albinism have skin cancers because they've no melanin. And what do you ladies do? You bleach, you remove the melanin. It makes me cry. So I think the message to, especially the young ladies and all the other ladies, they must understand this. You are wearing the weave or the wig. Maybe you don't understand it, is subconscious of it, but you like to look Caucasian. But Caucasians have that kind of hair because they come from a cold climate. So nature gave them that kind of hair to keep them warm in a cold climate. It's like sheep. You see, in Africa we have sheep. We go to Europe, they have a lot of wool. That wool is to keep them warm in a cold climate. If a sheep from Africa go to Europe, they'll die of the cold. So what we are doing, or what our ladies are doing, those who wear the weaves and wigs, is like a sheep in Africa saying, I would like to look beautiful. I would like to wear the wool to look beautiful. And we have to say, honey, the wool is not for looking beautiful, it's for keeping you warm in a cold climate. It's too hot here for that. You don't need that. You look ridiculous wearing wool in a hot climate. It's as simple as this. And so I'm trying to get this across to especially young children. But because we are spending billions doing this. And in Taiwan, they are doing the same thing. Women who die just before burial, the bodies are brought to one room and the hair is shaved off just before burial. After that, to the cemetery. And they showed me a warehouse and with lots of hair. And I said, gentlemen, what are you doing with all this hair of people who've actually passed on? And they said to me, oh my friend, this is big business. Black people, they love this hair. We are making tons of money, billions of money selling to black people. I could feel the pain straight. I said, really? How did we get to this point? Because women have the most beautiful hair. How do we buy this even from dead people or fibers? So this is where, Janine, I'm coming from. And for me, as I say, I've taken lots of flack from women. They were very angry with me. But I stood my ground because I just think you got it all. And this, by the way, applies to our countries. And this is what I say now when I speak to professional people, that you look at our countries, um, you look at the minerals we have, the soils can grow anything, but the people are poor. This poverty is from the mindset. We'll welcome other people to come from elsewhere, from China, from another continent, to come and take our resources. We're just watching. The people are poor. And this is why we're even paying for what other people will throw in the dustbin. We're paying for fibers from the Chinese, the Koreans. We buy their trash, they don't buy our trash.
True.
And we need our psyche to get right there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Doc. Lynette, you also had an experience with bias, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, for myself, good evening, everyone, and thank you for welcoming me so late. For myself, my experience with bias regarding my natural hair began as a young girl. I have a very sensitive scalp, and my natural hair is very curly and knots very easily. So, as a young child, there was very little, if probably nothing, to deal with my kind of hair as a young girl growing up in Zimbabwe. So we had to deal with whatever was available. My mother eventually decided rather just relax the hair because then she could manage it. Um, I have vivid memories of being locked out of the house because I cried too much as a child when my grandmother did my hair. So, as punishment for my noise, I was locked out on the veranda until I calmed down. Um, but one a recent recent incident that happened to me in Johannesburg is I was out with my daughter and we were running errands in the shops and things like that. And I noticed that we were being treated a particular way because we were perceived as less polished, less refined, um, less worthy of respect because we both have natural hair. There was a security guard once who wanted me to switch off my car and started again because I needed to prove that this was my vehicle and I hadn't stolen it. And
Are
I
you
refused point.
serious?
Wow.
Yes, yes, I refused point blank. Um,
Wow.
we've had numerous incidents of walking into certain stores, and because you're natural, they assume that you don't have money to pay for whatever it is that they're selling, so you'll be ignored. The other extreme is that you'll find you'll be followed by an assistant in the store to make sure you don't steal something. And my experience has been, I think corporate South Africa has grudgingly accepted natural hair. And apologies. Corporate South Africa has grudgingly accepted natural hair. Um, but by and large, the community still has to find its feet in terms of whether a woman with natural hair is worthy of respect. I have a friend with natural hair who said she went on a date with a gentleman for the first time and she wore her natural hair as opposed to a wig or a weave, and he said to her, "Don't you have money to do your hair? Can't you afford to do your hair because you yes?" And she laughed at him and she said to him, "You know that it's far more expensive for me to wear my natural hair than it is for you to
Yes.
relax it or to wear a wig or a weave." And that's a lot of the perception. Um, we're coming around because I find, like the doc is saying, a lot of men love women in their natural hair. My older brother says, when I told him about this talk, and he said to me, "Yes, sis, please go on and tell those women." He says, "We love women to wear their natural hair." Um, and he says, as a man, I want my woman to wear her hair naturally. I want to see her real beauty. And that's what I enjoy and that's what I appreciate. So you have these wide variances in terms of attitudes and responses that happen. But I find that the natural hair sector is growing clearly, and it's a good thing. When I first went natural, I don't recall ever seeing my natural hair. I didn't know I had hair that curled. I have these cute little curls. I never knew that until I was over 40.
Wow.
And I grew to love this hair that I could see on my head, and it had this different texture. It was thick and it was healthy. And a friend of mine, she said to me, "Wow, Lynn, your hair looks so great. It looks thick, it looks healthy, and you look better." And she also wears her hair natural. So we find that there's quite a vast variety of responses that come to women with natural hair, and you have to learn to manage your way through it, because the key, I think, is to bring education to not just our families, because some family members don't support you going natural, and they said that, no, you don't look tidy, you don't look professional, you don't look polished. And then so you start with your family, and then you go into the community, and the greater society. But there is a growing movement now which is speaking to your hair being natural, and that's being accepted. But it still takes time.
Yeah, it does. It does. What are your experiences bias on natural hair in South Africa, Tamela? Tomelo, sorry.
Hi everyone. Um, I'll be honest. I've never experienced any bias, unless maybe it's because I'm really oblivious to what people think about me or my hair or anything. Although people will say that light skinned girls had it easy, but I've never experienced that, to be honest. What I know, what I've experienced with my hair is that growing up, my mother didn't know what to do with my hair. Growing up, she would use relaxers because that's what she knew. You know what I'm saying? And my hair never grew past probably this length, or maybe it was this long when it was long. For example, I've never had two lines from the middle of my hair. And I think I attributed that to the texture of my hair. When growing up, it just would never grow. So that's how in South Africa we knew our hair. Even to this day, we know people still think that natural hair doesn't grow. I think in South Africa we have one of the coarsest kind of hair. We have most of us have 4C type of hair. It's not wavy, it's not coily. Mostly it's these tight curls that need a lot of moisture. And from our background, we didn't know what to do with that type of hair. We just knew just straighten it. My mother's era, they would use a hot stone on it, apparently with Vaseline, just straighten it. Mine, from my mother to me, she would use relaxers. The day I quit relaxers was when my scalp was burnt and it was not healing. Every time I would plait my hair, the scabs would come up again. So it took me a good, maybe I was 24 for me to quit
Wow.
relaxers because I didn't want that chemical on my hair anymore. It wasn't because of bias. I never experienced any bias. It was just we knew that some girls' hair grew, other girls' hair didn't grow. And we thought it was texture or genes maybe. So
Yeah.
and this is specifically what I said when I cut my hair off. I remember my husband was cutting my firstborn son's hair, and it was winter, and I told him take it off. Even mine, just take it all off. I don't want this anymore. I'm done. I'm just tired of the scabs because I'm afraid that the more these things keep coming up, I won't have hair growing on these spots anymore. So I remember saying to myself that I want to see why God gave me this type of hair. Sorry. I said I wanted to see why God gave me this type of hair. And that's it. And from then on, I just started. I don't like relaxers. I don't want to see a relaxer on anyway. Even extensions on my little girls. Mm-mm, not yet. They will see extensions when they're 13, 14. But right now, I'm dealing with that hair. So I've learned a lot in this journey. It's been over 10 years. I grew my hair as long as Janine. I cut it. I'm starting again. It's beautiful. And you start seeing the beauty of natural hair when you have it. It's thick. I've always, even though my hair would be relaxed, I always loved feeling the texture at the bottom. It would be wavy. It would be nice and curly. It would be fresh.
So I was actually I'm actually very surprised because I would think that the bias would be more normally when people are biased, it's because of something they don't know. And then they would be biased because it's something that is strange to them. They don't know it. They didn't take the time to educate themselves on it, and therefore would be prejudiced on something. But I'm actually very surprised to learn that when it comes to bias, it's even in Charlotte's her case and in Lynette's her case, it's our own people that have that bias. Now, you said something very important, Doc, that it had to do with colonization and slavery. Um, and I truly believe that that is true. But having said that, in this day and age of digitalization, that should not be an excuse anymore because there is so much education when it comes to natural hair. There is education when it comes to African history. For instance, there's one organization that is bringing African history, the Sankofa Pan African series on YouTube. So we basically do not have an excuse of not knowing. Having said that, education is very important to people um, let people walk away from the bias. How do you see that happening when it comes to natural hair? Because Doc, you are doing presentations in the university, but still in another country, they are kicking children off from the from university when they have natural hair. So I would say there's work to do there. But and I it seems as if the perception that I had was that we had to fight the battle in the Western world, right? Where they could be biased because of a lack of education of our hair, our culture. But it's like we are battling on every corner of the world, because when you're home, there's the same bias. How do we educate the people in such a way that they can get rid of the bias? Akua.
How do we educate the people in such a way that they can get rid of the bias? If I knew, I would have done it. But I obviously don't know, which is why we're here where we are. For over 30 years, I've been trying my best to educate Ghanaians about the bias. And for 30 years, it's Ghanaians are still wearing the fake hair. So I obviously don't know the answer. What I think what we can do is what we're doing now. Keep talking about the issue, keep trying to at least change one person at a time. I mean, I've had people say to me that because of me, they've gone natural. So at least you can do one person at a time. But if I say I know the answer as to how to educate everybody, I'll be lying. If I knew, I'd have done it 30 years ago because I've been talking for 30 years.
Do
You
you
know,
think it's a mindset issue?
so it's a definitely a mental issue. Oh, it's definitely a mental issue. It's come down from slavery. You know, before we were colonized, our hair was part of identity. So you could see immediately who a person was by their hair. The hairstyle could tell you this person is a widow, or they're going to war, or they're from this tribe. A hairstyle was something. Now the enslavers, the first thing they did was they cut off the identity. When they enslaved us, they cut our hair. So on the in the slave dungeons and on the slave ship, you couldn't tell immediately if this person was your tribesman because now we all had the same cut. Before then, just by looking at the hair, you know, this person is my tribesman, and we could maybe unite and fight against the colonizer. So our hair was part of identity. And the first thing they did was get rid of that. Then we got to the plantations and they said, you see, white women were very jealous of our hair because we could do so much with it. And the white women couldn't do anything. So because we were so jealous, black slaves were not allowed to keep their hair and shown. We had to wear it under scarves. We always had to put our hair under scarves. Then on Sundays, once a week, they allow us to show our hair once in a while because the white women could not get our hair. So that became a problem. You know, we have something in us, but we don't realize it. So I think it's up to us to educate ourselves and also educate others. I mean, for the last, I've worn my hair natural all my life, but I've done TV in Ghana for over 20 years, almost 30 years of TV in Ghana. And I made an effort to make sure I always had natural hair. So I used to plait my hair. I have locks. I have China bumps. I always had different hairstyles for people to see that, oh, okay, I can wear natural hair and be intelligent. I can wear natural hair and be successful. Because we've been told all these years that actually having natural hair will make you ugly. Having natural hair, you can't compete in the corporate world. Having natural hair, you can't be a champion tennis player. So I think those of us that believe otherwise should wear natural hair and be seen to be successful, either as mothers, as tennis players, whatever we're doing, we should do it for natural hair.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are also doing some work on that, Grace, trying to educate women and children when it comes to natural hair, but also when it comes to identity. Because what we see here in Belgium, for instance, and Grace can tell more about it, is that by the end of, for instance, the summer holidays, the saloons are
Packed.
full.
Packed, you can say it.
Yes, go ahead, Grace.
So before school starts, so moms are bringing their children, so their daughters, to salon to do their hair, with extension, more precise, or to have like a good hairstyle for the start of the school. And it's so, for me, I'm so enraged with that because the natural hair is so beautiful. You can do so much, but most of the time, mothers, they don't have the education. They don't know what to do that with their daughter's hair. So to make their life easier, they decide to put extensions. So it's going to last longer. So they don't have to think about every 2 weeks. Oh, I have to do my daughter's hair again with her hair and the crying and everything. So It's just for me. It's heartbreaking to see that, and that's something I'm really like advocate. I'm just saying, okay, your daughter, you just need to know exactly the product or how to, for example, detangle the hair. That's the first step. It might be just, I would say, easy or normal, but people just don't know how to detangle the hair properly. That's the first step.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes I remember when I was a child, when my mom was detangling my hair, I was crying like crazy because she was starting from the roots to the end, while we actually should be like from the end to the roots.
Yeah.
It's the basic. But already with the basics we don't know, this is where the problem is. And that's why education is super important. And
But is
all
it
the
only
others.
education towards our own people or also to the other, let me call it the other people? Because um, how does how whether you like it or not, the bias comes maybe mostly. I had one lady one day, she told me, I never had problems. I never had white people talking to me about my hair. The only people talking to me about my own natural hair were black people, my own people. So um, do you think that education would help in the bias, because this bias will also affect our next generation? It affects our youth. The what you're just telling us, right? The mothers taking their children to the salons to get their hair braided with extensions. That girl grows up with the idea that only if I have this type of hair, I'm a little princess. I
Mhm.
cannot be a princess with my afro hair. I cannot be a princess with my twists. So how
Yeah.
does this affect our youth?
So it's actually starting with us. We are the one who is actually giving or
Exactly.
sharing the to our youth to our child. So for me, for example, I have a niece. For me, I'm always wearing my natural hair because, and I even tell her, your hair is beautiful. You have to wear it like that. She said, no, I want to have my hair like a princess. But with your natural hair, you look like a princess. You don't need to add like extensions to look like a princess. So it's definitely starting with us and accepting who we are with our own hair. That's the first step. That's the first step.
Mhm.
As
But how do we teach people to accept our own hair? Because whether you like it or not, I know a lot of people that really are um, um, that really are saying, yes, it's very good, the natural hair, but when I look, they are always wearing a wig and or a weave. So educating people is one. How do you get them to um, cross that line and know that they do not need that wig or weave? Doug.
Yeah. This is a very important topic, Janine. I'll give you an illustration. I was invited um, by what we call NASH in Zimbabwe, which is National Association of Secondary School Headmasters and Headmistresses. So I was the guest speaker. And the first thing I said to them is this: the headmasters and headmistresses, and indeed the aunties and the mothers, have an awesome responsibility to instill confidence in the black child. The little black girl must be told, sweetie, there's nothing wrong with your hair. There's nothing wrong with your skin. Nature or God did not make a mistake on you. In fact, you have the best hair. You have the best skin. And these are facts. This is truth. Now, I was sitting at the podium as a guest speaker, and I looked to my right, and all the headmistresses on my right had weaves or wigs on my left. And I looked at the audience, they all had wigs and weaves on. And I said, well, Solomon, what are you going to do? So I said, I'll just tell them the truth. And this is what I said. Um, I said, um, you are in education. So you know more than I do that every little child looks up to the mother, looks up to the teacher, looks up to the headmistress, looks up to that successful auntie. The child has natural hair. but the mother has a weave or wig, the teacher, the headmistress, the auntie. The little child in her own mind then says to herself, how come my hair is not like my mom's hair, or my teacher's hair, or my headmistress, or my aunt's hair? It means there must be something wrong with me. We are now hitting the confidence of that child at that age. Remember, the other races, the white child, the Indian child, the Chinese child, the Japanese, they don't have that problem. It's the black child whose confidence has been hit. And I say this many times when I address groups, ladies, because they say to me, well, look, it's our own right, it's our own choice. You can tell us what to do. Granted, each time you do this, you are inflicting untold psychological damage on the black child.
Yeah.
These kids grow up maybe to be our leaders, but there it was hit already. They don't have confidence.
Yeah.
Well, the Chinese people come to Africa, or anybody else comes to Africa, deep down, those people don't have the confidence. Other races can do whatever they want to do with the resources in our countries. We need to bring up black children with a lot of confidence. So it's very important. Now, how do we do this? I've been told by women point blank, they said, Doctor, I hear you, but our men, they prefer us with wigs and wigs. You have your own taste, that's your own taste, but my man, that's what he likes. So we have to educate the men. We really have to. And I've said to them, if your man likes the wig, just think about it. You have hair on your scalp, your armpits, your private parts. Wherever there's hair, there's sweating. 2 days without washing the armpits, we smell sweat. Can you imagine this weave that you have for 4 weeks or 6 weeks? University students might have it for a semester because they can't afford to change it. Can you imagine sweat that smells after 2 days? You lock it up for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. How does it smell? Plus, you have the dandruff, which is normal. So you have the dandruff, you have the sweat
Yeah,
mixing up for
absolutely. Yeah.
weeks. And then the bacteria love this environment because it's warm, it's wet. So the bacteria get fat, feeding on the dandruff and the old sweat, but they breed like crazy. All these ladies who have these weaves, and they have millions, billions, trillions of bacteria crawling all over, and they chew the scalp, and when they go, I feel sorry. So we need
Yeah.
serious education of both the
Yeah.
ladies and the men.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Doc. I see that it's almost time. We had 1 hour planned. This is a very interesting conversation that I really would like to continue. But we had 1 hour plan, and I would really like to invite you to have how do you say that? Not a sequence, a follow up on this. Because I do think that it's very important to discuss this and go to the bottom of this. Because I am actually shocked to learn that the bias is there where I did not expect it. The bias is with our own people, actually. The university in the Congo that is putting in their in
Can I say something before we go off? Talking
it's
about
so ridiculous. I don't even know.
Ghana before you go. Before you, I mean, before
Yeah,
in Ghana, school kids are not allowed to, government schools, they're not allowed to wear their own hair. They have to shave their hair off. So you're a black girl, you're 10 years old, you're 14 years old, you're 12, you're sitting in class with an Indian girl with a long hair, Chinese girl. Foreigners allowed to, but the Ghanaian students are not allowed to, black students. So that's a problem right there. You're looking at your auntie for a weave, you're looking at your sister for a weave, your classmate with a long foreign hair, and you're being told that your Ghanaian hair is not good enough.
it's not good enough. Yeah,
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 it's a problem
true.
right there.
It's
So from
sad.
the start,
Really a
It's really
problem.
sad.
yeah,
Janine,
Yeah.
just one last
It's
word.
really sad.
Just to,
Yes, go ahead, Doc.
and this I tell all the men I come across. But if I meet a lady, like all you ladies, we meet on a plane or in a hotel, I don't know you at all. I'm encouraging every man to reaffirm you ladies. And I always say, excuse me, lady, I have to tell you, that you look so beautiful, so stunning with your natural hair. You see, lady, I'm a naturalist. I absolutely adore. I respect and I truly, truly appreciate natural hair. When you have natural hair, it means you got confidence in yourself, confidence in who you are. You have inner beauty and outer beauty. You see, lady, natural hair is elegant. Natural hair is classy. Natural hair is chic. It is a true sign of real sophistication. Because, and I said, I hope you keep it up and I hope you share this with your friends. Because there can be no sophistication in buying what the rest is throwing the dustbin. You put it onto your head and you walk around for the whole world to see who you are. There's no sophistication in buying other dead people's hair onto your scalp and walk around the world. There's no sophistication in buying fibers that then get soaked in sweat for 4 weeks, in dandruff, dripping with bacteria. There's no sophistication. And for the men who think this is normal, it's beautiful, we need to talk, a serious talk. Thank you.
We really need to talk, and I would love to continue this talk some other time. Before we go, any final words from all of you before we
Well, me, I just want to thank you all because it was a really interesting discussion, and I really like to listen to y'all, and it's really make me happy. Thank you very much.
Oh,
thank you very much,
I
Aqua?
like to say, I like to say that God didn't make a mistake. Every race was
Mhm.
created with their hair, their look, their skin. So
Amen.
why is it only the black race that is not allowed to be the way God created? And I don't care, you could be a top doctor, you could be the top lawyer. Until you accept your God-given hair, you're not a confident, you're not empowered. Empowered, you can't be empowered walking around with somebody else's hair or goat hair. So all that empowerment, you're lying to yourself. Empowerment is when you say, yes, this is how God created me, and I will live like that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Amen to
Thank you very
that.
much. Tumelo, some final words to our listeners.
Sorry for the disconnection earlier. I'd like, yes, I'd like to say that, I think as everything, it starts in the home. A good
Mhm.
society starts in the home and then extends to society. We must start with our daughters. I have two daughters, and they've been natural since they were born. And I tell them your hair is beautiful. They have two different textures, and the textures are equally beautiful for me. And I teach them that. So they need to, I think from there, they need to extend it maybe to their friends and and then it will extend to the community. It's amazing that it's us, the Black community, that's talking about hair. It's shocking as to how important hair is. This hair discussion is at this, then there has to be something mystical about our hair for people to have shunned it all these years. Just like it took us time to accept our skin tones, our melanin, the fact that we get darker in the sun. We need to work as much to embrace our hair and let others embrace our hair as well. So let's start in the home. Just like Auntie encourages her niece there, we must keep encouraging our little girls so that the next generation can be different. In South Africa, I see the difference. It's a big difference too. Most high school kids have puffs. It's here there is a movement amongst the millennials. It's amazing. So some of the bias that is experienced in other African countries, here there's really very little. So we just have to extend that love and keep having these chats. 1 hour is not enough though. But thank you.
No, I noticed that. Yes, but we don't worry. We'll have another one. Thank you very much. Final words, Lynette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I wanted to add on, follow on to what Doc was saying about putting wigs and weaves of various hair textures from various parts of the world. We must remember that our hair is our crown. And when we take the crown of another woman that was shed because she was ill, or she died, or she was poor and she needed to sell her hair, to make some money, I believe that spiritually you're taking on that person's crown. You're taking on that crown of death. You're taking on that crown of poverty. You're taking on that crown of illness. And yet God has given us something that is perfectly beautiful and natural. And this is something, a message that we need to continue to share with other people, and in a way that other people can begin to accept our natural hair as being beautiful. It's very sad when a man will come to you and say to you, "Oh no, you don't look beautiful because your hair's not straight and you don't have a wig or a weave."
Yeah, yeah.
And once he realizes, clearly, for me, clearly he doesn't have the education or the wisdom that someone like Doc has, and he's very misinformed, because what I have on my head is what is most powerful for me, and this is what I should be celebrating. This is what we should all be celebrating.
Yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Thank you very much. Well, I do remember one thing that the doc said to me during one of our conversations, and I will never forget that. He said, "We are the original, and we as Black women, we are trying to copy the copy."
Exactly. Sure.
Have you talking about that? Sorry, have you noticed something about white people? Whatever of theirs they can't, whatever of ours they can't have, they demonized. So when they couldn't have thick lips and big butts, they demonized it. When they realized, oh, we can inject and get that, so now they glorified it. They can't have our hair no matter what they do, so they're demonizing it. The minute they can find ways to make their hair versatile like us, that's when they'll make it acceptable. And Black people, we always wait for white people to make things acceptable before we take it on board. And that's a
Yeah,
problem. We need to
that is
change.
our problem. Yeah,
The
yeah.
originators are copying the copycat and wait for the copycat to say be original again. Makes no sense. Makes
Any
no
final
sense.
words to our listeners, Doc?
Well, Janine, thank you so much for this program. I think it's so important. I think it was long overdue, and we need much more discussion about this.
Absolutely.
Because it means it's not just about hair and skin, as I said, it's about the mindset. That's what we're actually talking about.
Yeah.
As long as we think we're inferior to other races, their hair is better, there's whatever it is, we are not going to make progress
Yeah.
as a people,
Yeah.
as a continent. So
Yeah.
this is a very serious issue, in my view. Thank you so much for hosting this.
Thank you very much, all, for being our guests in the Natural Hair Therapist Conversation, for breaking the bias. I think we have a long way to go to break the bias. And I really would like to continue this conversation. Go ahead.
Just to add on to what Doc said, it is a mental problem. It is a mental slavery problem, because if it wasn't, Black women say it's choice, yet they choose fine Caucasian hair. Why they not choosing Afro wigs, or choosing locks wigs, or choosing plaits, or choosing Nubian? We're not saying don't have wigs. You can have wigs, but why is it not the African looking wigs? You're choosing white people's hair because of the mental slavery. That's what it boils down to.
And
Yeah.
just quickly, when they say it's our choice, it's our right, I always say, true. How do you utilize your God-given choice to buy what somebody throws in the dustbin, or somebody's a dead person's hair? These other races also have choices and rights. Why don't they choose to buy our trash also?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
True, absolutely true. I think I see the necessity to have another conversation on this. So we are going to organize that, and I hope that you all will join us again. For today, I would like to say thank you very much. Also to those that have been watching, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you all next time. I would like to thank my guests and my co-host, Grace. I would like to thank you, Akua, Charlotte, Tumelo, and Lynette, and especially the Doc for being the only man here. And I hope that next time we will have more men joining this conversation, because I do think that it's very important to have more men advocating natural hair, because maybe, just maybe, that would help the ladies and the girls growing up to know that our men, our kings stand behind us. So
Yeah.
thank you very much once again, and I really hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Talk soon.